Hey, Vine Church. Where am I looking? I'm looking here. That's good enough. Okay.
There.
Hey, Vine Church. It's so good to see you. We're glad that you could join us for our live stream. We're going to try something new today. Starting something new. We're going to have you kind of join us live stream for a small group experience. So we're going to discuss this little book on marriage, and we're going to work through some of these questions. We're going to do it in small group form with our good friends Donnie and Donna. And as we do, you can participate also. I mean, moving forward, we hope to build some steam and build a community that wants to sit and have these conversations. But we're going to you can comment through either Facebook or YouTube or the app or wherever you're watching this. And then Kat will get the comments, and if you have questions, you can participate that way, but it's going to be exciting. We're so glad that you've joined us. Let's get this thing rolling. What do you say? This is our book. It's called Marriage, God's Design for Intimacy. Honestly, that sounds a little lame, but the ducks on the front, it's a little, but it's a great framework to get started, okay? And these are our good friends, Donnie and Donna, and how long have you guys been married?
We got married in 2002.
I was there.
So can you do the math?
19 years.
Is it 19 years ago?
Yes, it'll be 19 years.
Yeah, 19 years.
You married us.
September.
You were like 20 or something when you married us.
19 years? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Time flies. It's all been bliss?
No. Oh, sorry, was that too quick? My bad.
This is live. She's like, oh, okay. How'd you guys, did you guys meet online?
Well, we emailed, but a friend of mine that I was working with
Was like, this would be a good match.
Well,
Are you still friends with this
we
person?
joined. Actually, no.
No?
No, I ruined that, I think. It is what it is.
You trusted this person, now you're not even...
Well, I kind of just was. We used to go bowling with the group, and
Bowling's like the most expensive hobby
we used to
ever.
go to movies.
Were you in like a league?
He was in like a recovery marriage group. So I thought.
Okay. So like after like a recovery of the marriage that didn't work out group.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a group for that.
There is.
There
There's a
is.
group
A
for that.
support system. Is that just like is like
Hopefully
is that,
nobody needs that.
is that like its own dating pool, or is it like?
Actually, no. I was actually forbidden, so.
Oh really? So you go to the group and you can't date the people in the group?
No. And the craziest thing about that group when I went, we all sat down when we first met and we talked about our stories.
Okay.
Why are you? How long were you married?
Right.
So on and so forth. And we went around the room, and I was at that time married for 10 years. But everybody else started talking about their marriages and how
Okay.
long they'd been married. And it was incredible. Some of them were 20, 25, 30, 40 years that they'd been married, and now
Gone.
gone, done. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's
You felt better about
It's,
the 10-year
you know.
thing. It was like I only wasted 10.
kinda, yeah, I guess, yeah. You wanna look at it that way, yeah.
But that's a crazy.
It was really, that was my biggest takeaway initially was that number, and I'm like, wow, marriage is supposed to be forever, and these people were married for that long, and now they're not, or they're going through divorce, you know,
Wow.
so.
How long have we been married?
This year will be 10 years.
10 blissful years.
Quite fast.
Blissful. It has gone by fast.
Really fast.
When you think 10 years, I guess it's a decade. It's kind of quick.
Yeah.
It was like just the other day we were dancing at our reception.
Yeah. Our anniversary. Well, never mind.
Okay. We kind of pulled a fast one. We
That's
got-
a story for another day.
Oh, we're not gonna tell. Okay, that was the signal. Don't tell that story. Okay, don't tell that story. It's not for public consumption. But yes, there might be some fudgy dudgy numbers on the actual day.
But 10 years this year.
10 years this year. So 10 years, almost 20 years. So you guys got 2 decades. We got 1. That makes us experts
Sure.
on this. Actually, the whole point of this is that it's not us teaching this. This is us discussing this, and we're hoping that as you join us in the discussion, we get some things out of this. Because if you leave this to us, what would we teach people about marriage? Like, what would be your number one lesson if you were teaching this?
Pick your battles.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's excellent.
Okay, that's pretty good. You probably should lead a class on this. What would you say? What's your number one lesson?
If I were to want a class on marriage, it would have been like the different seasons of marriage, I think.
Like, what do you mean?
Just how marriage changes, like from the beginning, and then you throw a whole bunch of kids in. Just the different seasons, I guess, and then we're going to, at some point, be empty nesters. You know,
Fantastic.
everything's
You guys are in the
constantly
good
changing.
phase.
Well, here's
Yeah.
You guys are in the good phase.
you know,
Yeah.
it's really every phase of I think everything, even if it doesn't have to do with marriage. I just think life in general has a blessing and something that is a surprise that is kind of sad about it.
Okay,
know.
give me an example.
So retirement, okay?
Okay.
Like even though we are, like, I mean, we definitely like have our freedom. We've been very blessed. I think that we've made like a really good team over the last 20-some years.
What's the sad part? You saw him every day now?
No,
No.
this,
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, buddy.
well, I don't wanna say sad. In a way, you feel kind of displaced.
Okay, because it's just different. It's the next thing, and
Yes, I mean, even though I'm still working my business part-time, but there's still just something about like going somewhere and then like not having to leave. And you're just kinda like, does anybody care if we leave, or if we're home, or, not really, does it, I don't know if you.
What do
see,
you
it's
mean
not-
going somewhere and not having to leave?
Well, like, like we can go wherever, like if we wanted to get in our vehicles and drive
Oh.
out west and come back whenever we feel like it, there's something still to adjust to with that.
Okay.
Like not having a schedule, not knowing we're gonna see the kids, not
I gotta
having.
tell you, on
Not
our
being
side of
needed.
things, it sounds
Yes.
fantastic.
That's probably.
It is.
That sounds fantastic. From this point.
Yes, it always did to us too.
Is that life though? Like you always want what you don't have a little bit, then you get it, and then you're like, okay.
I mean, but
There were
we're
some things
we're still very new at it too, you know, so that's why when we have conversations about like, what are we gonna do? We just stop talking about it and say, okay, in a year we'll have that discussion again, like, so that maybe we'll know better.
Do you feel like a pressure to have like a plan?
Not really.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would love no plan. Just
No plans, no
driving out
commitments.
west, hoping for the best.
We've got a long time. We've got 16
Don't get my
more
hope.
years of
Way to get,
that.
way to get our hopes up. Yeah, we reloaded. I don't know if you know that. We're going another 16 years. Just from
Yeah.
a kid's standpoint.
No, I know.
Okay, what would be your lesson? What have you learned so much in all of your years and years of marital wisdom?
I like pick your battles.
Pick battles
Because-
is good.
You know, we can say it's always bliss, but there's always going to be some, not always going to be, but there are going to be those times or instances where there's some, you know, difference of opinion or
Yeah.
what have you.
Do you think you get better at that as you get older?
What, picking your
Yeah.
battles? Oh, yes.
I think so too.
And you just like pray a lot.
Yeah, but I think at some point you go, we're not fighting this.
No, I know. Or well, the thing is you don't want to waste another day. Like, are we really gonna just like give each other the silent treatment? Okay, like what, for 15 minutes? Let's get over it. You know?
Yeah.
I
Let's
mean-
just fast forward to the part we just move on, right?
Yeah, 'cause I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
I'll haunt you, right?
Ha-
She says that to me all the time. Where are you gonna go? I'll haunt you. I'll stalk you. I'll haunt you. Yeah. It's like.
You
okay.
just get over stuff quicker.
When you're young, everything's much more important.
It's more volatile. It's more everything.
It's just much more.
Well, I think, you know, you're going to, like I said, you're going to have those disagreements, and if you're the causal factor of that, let's say having an attitude or something that was snippy or something. You have to have humility and
Right.
realize that, okay, yeah, I probably did sound a little brash with that statement. Hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. And go on.
Yeah.
So
Okay. What was your lesson again?
The seasons.
Like
Oh, the
the
seasons.
changes of marriage,
It's very true.
or how to,
navigate them.
yeah, like adjust, navigate.
Were they surprised to you? The seasons were a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say from the moment we've got married within the past 10 years, it's always been something to adjust to.
Yeah.
And so,
I just figured it must be so nice being married to me.
it's very easy to be married to you.
That you're just
You're
like,
so-
okay,
There's that
I'm
humility.
along for the ride.
Yeah, you're so humble. And just not prideful at all.
Okay,
No.
and back to our book. That's why we're not teaching, right? We're actually just discussing and thinking through. We're not really teaching. We're not instructors. We're just fellow journeymen on the travel of marital life. Fair?
Absolutely.
Okay, so in our books, we're going to use this pretty loosely, guys. And if you haven't picked up a book yet and you want to follow us in the series, I've got some. You can pick them up on Wednesday night or Sunday morning here at the church, or just text me or reach out to me in the Facebook thread or whatever. I'll get you one. We're only going to hit some highlights from each of these chapters. And so for those that are following along in the book, we're going to take a special look at question number 7 and 8 for just our time today, and hopefully that inspires you to go deeper in the study with your spouse or this week. And if you're married and for whatever reason you're just in a season of the marriage where your spouse won't do this with you, it's okay. Don't get grumpy. Just do the series yourself and learn about like what you can contribute to the marriage. It's okay. All right? Don't be bitter. Let's do this. Let's all be positive, right? Okay. So I do like this. Question number 7 is this: what marriage principle do you draw from Genesis chapter 2, verses 24, which reads, "For this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united with his wife, and they will become one flesh"? What do you get out of that? What do you think that means? What do you got?
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory.
You think?
Yeah, at some point, you grow up, you leave your family. When you choose your spouse, it's you and your spouse.
Do you think
You're
like-
a team, you're one.
Do you think like the man is just like man is like plural, like all people there, or is it the man? Why is the wife not leaving? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't say, for this reason, a woman shall leave her father and mother. It's a man. Do you think men are just mama's boys a little bit more? We stay behind? We're ready to hang out. We want free rent? What is the deal?
Well, the man
That could just be in general.
the man is supposed to be the leader of the home, spiritual leader. So they lead in that way.
Tell me more.
You're the pastor. I don't need to tell you about the Bible.
I'm just saying, I like when you said, I'm supposed to be the leader. That means, so you're willing to like follow the leader every now and then?
Every now and then.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
that's probably another
Discussion?
Yeah.
another
You wanna-
topic.
That's
that-
another day too.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of things we can't tell these people, I guess. Okay. Here we, okay, well, let me ask you this. What do you think it means by, what do you think, when you guys hear the term one flesh, what do you think?
I think for me, it means we're connected like heart and soul, and that we like intercede for each other, and like when he's hurting, I feel that hurt, or if he's, going through something, like I'm kind of going through it with him. Not kind of, like I am really going through it with him. And then I think spiritually, you know, if there's something, this would be a pick your battle thing, like, if there's something that I see that maybe I feel like I'm either gonna be nitpicky about, or maybe I've said it before and he didn't get the message, like, instead of just being like harping on him or whatever, just like pray about it so that either I can have the right words, like, I don't know, we're a team, so we're supposed to be friends and, you know, have each other's back.
Okay. But you said something that caught me. You said, I'm supposed to, like, if he's hurting, I kind of feel it, right? But I know you. You're like that with everybody. You're like an empath. You recognize people's pain very quickly. We're not that great at that. Like, I don't think guys are that great at picking up on your guys' pain too much. We can, like, we're like, what's wrong? Sorry, we're going fishing. It's like, I mean, like, we can kind of, like, miss it a lot. Don't you feel like that way?
Yes.
Like, they're much better at this.
Right over the top.
Yeah, like you're really good at it. You're really good at recognizing if somebody's in the room that's uncomfortable or hurting. You can kind of pick up quickly. I've been around you enough to know that.
Well, I mean, that's, body language is like 90%
Yeah, obviously, we're not good at that.
communication. You know, so, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I look at people a lot, maybe.
No, I'm saying it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a gift. I think you have a gift of mercy. I think you just kind of, you recognize that, you kind of, you draw towards people who need a little, hey, let me listen a little more intently, whatever it is. But I think for guys, when you say, hey, I think when I struggle with that, I'm like, sometimes, and she'll know, she 100% gets that. She'll come to me with something that's like obviously very, very heavy, and then whatever my answer is, what's not, like,
I already know what your answer is. It is what it is.
but it's not like feeling enough,
Yeah, yes.
and she'll be like, I don't know why I told you,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, well, what are you talking about? Like, it'll be like, and I realized way too late that it was like this other thing that really didn't get expressed in words. Do you know what I'm saying? That I was supposed to feel something that I wasn't like. I needed a prep talk. Like, hey, get ready. You're supposed to be sensitive in this moment. You know, does that make sense? Are you with me?
And then, when you do realize that, we want to fix it.
Right.
So we can go fishing.
Right. And they don't want. And here's the thing: she doesn't want it. She doesn't want it.
Right. They don't want to
Like,
fix.
she's like, I just wanted to talk about it. And I was like, what are we doing? I don't know. Right.
Absolutely.
When did that happen? What do you remember? What it was about the other? Like, I felt like it was like a month ago. Remember we were out on the couch and you said something and you were like, I don't even know why. It's like, oh man, what
I
happened?
don't remember. I've realized in the 10 years we've been married that I have no expectation on how you're going to respond.
What do you mean? That
I
sounds
just
so
have-
sad. That
No.
sounds very sad.
I
Like you
just,
just surrendered, like
Yeah.
what? That you're not a caring, feeling person.
no, I just know you. I know that if I need a certain response from you, I might not get it, and I have to be okay with that. I'm not going to be upset if you are not responding in an emotional or sensitive way.
Yeah. But I think that's a real challenge, right, between men and women. I think it's a men and women difference. Does he do it better? You think he does pretty good?
He's just being, you know, funny.
But
I'm
he's,
not
I
being
think-
funny.
but he's
If
probably
it's-
better than me.
If it's definite, like, if it's, I'm trying to think of what, I was sharing something from church the other day
Okay.
while we were eating dinner.
That was last night.
And
That
it
was
was,
church yesterday.
Tell us something good.
it was about the, you know, sometimes last words,
Okay. Yeah.
I can't tell the story though.
The 9/11.
For the 9/11,
So,
yeah, it was a powerful
still-
story.
so we're like eating dinner with his parents, and I was like, so, you know, and I just start telling the story, and all of a sudden I'm just like bawling my eyes out, and I have to get up and leave the dinner table. But
But I
you
felt it
also
too.
felt it. Like
Yeah.
he
Yeah, I
I
also.
felt our pain from that.
But you
Okay.
also, I think, are sensitive about that story.
I'm very sensitive about that
Yeah.
story.
So.
I can be. I don't. did you see her face? That was me. I was like, I could be. She's like,
Well, I think that's part of your job. You deal with so many people's emotions and personal stories that to come home and deal with, you know,
You
I mean,
have
I'm not
to
really an
take
emotional person anyway, but to
Right.
have to deal with that in your own home,
We were talking about one of the kids.
we just,
We were talking about one of the kids. You brought up a point about one of the kids that you were concerned about. It was a thing, remember? And I was like, it'll be fine, blah, 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 and this is why. And you were like, that's not the freaking point. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I wanted to have this moment with you, and you don't get it, and it was like, ugh, right? I've had more than one of those.
well, I think, yeah, with the kids,
Mhm.
I think moms are definitely more sensitive and in tune in some
Mhm.
ways, and sometimes things go over
Fair enough.
dad's heads.
When I think of One Flesh, you know what, I'm just gonna fast forward to the good part. I think this is a reference in some extent to intimacy, including physical
Mhm,
intimacy.
mhm.
You know, I mean, obviously, there's a physical intimacy component to it, right? Obviously, this is a reference to sex at some level, but I think it's what that represents, meaning that when you're saying, hey, in the marital bed, you've got two people naked with nothing in between them, becoming one, and that also should be happening emotionally, that should be happening spiritually, that should be happening relationally, and that's a special thing between these two people. And I think that's what I think of when I think of One Flesh, this very special, sacred, like, intimacy that goes beyond just the physical, but the physical expresses that, like what that is.
Separated by nothing?
Boom. Boom.
Is that what you're saying? I'm
Yeah,
asking.
pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, meaning that,
makes
like,
sense.
you know how it is, like, think about it, like, I mean, I know we live in, like, this crazy Instagram world where everybody wants to take off their clothes now, but the truth is that in real people in the real world, like, who are you really naked in front of? Like, physically or emotionally? But your spouse, or maybe your doctor, right? Your therapist. But really, you've got very few people in your life that you're truly exposed to. Okay, you
What
know
kind
what
of
I
therapy are
meant.
you going
You know what I meant. Come on.
What therapists
Well,
are
Kat and I
you
looked at
going
each
to?
other like,
It's a very intimate session with my
I
therapist.
am not.
But you know what I'm saying, like emotionally vulnerable, and then and you go into that moment knowing that you'll be received, and that there will be it's safe, and that there's going to be honesty and openness there. I think that is such a unique thing in a world where you have to have all of these boundaries and rules and guarded relationships and words, and we live in a time now where it's like you say one thing and people lose their minds and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And this is the one relationship where none of that matters, and you can kind of like have this thing that's like a sanctuary from the rest of the world. That's what I think of. Does that make sense? Are you with me on this?
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, with that said, I love this next question. This is one I want to spend our time on anyways. God created marriage primarily to meet our needs for companionship, but sometimes a child or a parent can thwart that purpose. How can you guard your companionship in the midst of the pressure of family responsibilities? And I'd like to expand the question just to say simply, sometimes good things can come between a marriage. And in this, he brings up two things: kids or parent, taking care of elderly parents or kids or whatever responsibilities you have with the family. But it could be anything. It could be work. It could be anything that are actually good things. It could be a hobby. It could be friendships. It could be church. That those things can come between the most important thing. You know what I'm saying? And has that ever happened? Have you ever had that conversation where you're like, hey, I think we're off track here. Our focus is off. I'm not feeling connected to you because of something that was good that came in between you. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. I'm trying to recall.
Put your finger on something like that.
She's got a memory like
She's
an
already got
elephant.
something like that?
She's got a memory like an elephant. She's like,
Boom!
date time.
I can't think of anything.
No?
But
Nothing like
I
that?
can't think of anything that's really, come
Other
between
than,
us like that.
other than, I mean, I don't know if I should bring this up.
Probably not.
Come on, this is the best part of this thing. What are you talking about?
This is Donna.
What do you got?
Well, I think in the beginning, this is a simple thing, okay?
Okay.
It's not complicated. But, like, I remember when we used to sit at the dinner table, and Donnie would want to sit next to me, and Danny would sit there. Hey, you would make him move.
I don't remember that, but yeah, that makes
so good.
sense.
He was like, I want to sit next to your mom. Like,
No.
know your place, boy.
That is so good.
But
I don't remember it, but
Yeah. Okay, but that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. But that, I would do that.
however, I still think that I can teeter on like really being I don't know, just I love my kids. I love my grandkids. I love being around them. I love doing things with them. But you do too, so we share that the same.
You
but-
lean in together to it. It's
Mhm.
not. It's never been. You've ever had it feel like it's too much? Like it's okay, babe. Listen,
Mm,
we're spending too much time, too much money, too much energy on this, and not enough on us.
not a, I mean, that's right for him. But he
No, I've never
he,
Oh, that's good. Then
he
that's good.
He indulges like, yeah, he loves all of that too.
How was it though? Like looking back, I mean, when you guys got together, your girls were
We
older.
have a blended family.
Yeah, blended family. The
Well,
girls
my
were a
kids
little-
were older.
Yeah, they were. And they were even older. But I mean,
Right.
you how old? I'm like, how old was Emily when you guys got married?
3,
Three or
7,
four.
and Stephanie was.
Dang, was that young?
12 or 13.
Yeah.
12 or 13.
Gosh, it just feels like they were like teenagers. Man, it's been so
She was-
long. Okay, so like when you get to the teenage years and you got to deal with all that, was that tough? Was there moments?
I mean, for us, Emily was the only one that lived with us as a teenager full time. Was it tough in the beginning? Like he was in his glory because he's like, I get to raise my daughter. I get to see her for dinner every night. I get to take her to soccer. I get to do this. For me, it was a huge adjustment because it was like, I'm taking her to school. I'm making sure she has lunch and
Yeah,
bringing her snack and bringing her something she forgot or whatever, you know.
yeah,
I actually went to counseling, just because I wanted to be the best, no matter how I felt about it, you
Right.
know. So I just had to talk through that, and I talked through with Emily, and Emily was always respectful.
yeah.
She was, in my opinion, an easy kid to be, you know. I don't ever use the word step parent, but that's what I am, basically.
Right.
I mean, she was always very responsible. She was in bed at night and up in the morning to go to school, and she did her work, and
Made it easy. We kind of felt like that, buddy.
she was, yeah, it was, she was very respectable.
You didn't try to talk her into skipping school like you did Danny?
That was only when he's, that's because we were out playing baseball until like midnight or 1 in the morning, and I'd be like, can you please miss first period? Because I need to sleep. And he's like, no, you gotta get in.
Anything sucks so much time out of the relationship that you had that conversation? It's like, hey, we got to reorient our time.
I think work responsibility. When I
Yeah.
was on the bomb team, that was
Those were tough
that
couple
was a
years
lot.
because you were learning so much.
That was a blast. It was fun. I loved it.
Just
Literally.
getting called to our house.
Yeah, I got called to your house once. That was fun.
That's
But-
a true story. We'll tell that later.
But you know, so that took a lot of time and commitment, and wherever we went. I mean, I was always on call, but I was on different teams. So the team that I managed and ran for the most part, I could get there when I needed to. I could put the pieces in place. But when I
Okay.
became an EOD person, I was just just a straight level tech. So I had to be wherever they called us
Were
to.
you doing any details and stuff back in those days?
Not off duty. It was all. I mean, very very limited. But we did do details and things that would take time.
Could
away
you
as
have
well.
taken details or off duty?
Oh yeah.
Did you have that conversation? Like, I'm not doing this because it would take too much time away from us?
Oh, you're talking between us?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I did
Or
work
did,
some.
or did you make that decision consciously? I just don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just knew going in. You were on autopilot a little bit like, hey,
Yeah.
I could do this. There are obviously other guys doing this.
Oh, there are
Work-
guys that put 40 hours a week plus their regular 40.
Right. But I need to be first and foremost here in this
Here,
relationship.
right.
Yeah. I think this is a thing that a lot of, what would you say? Is there things like that that's come between us? Be honest.
I would say, if I was guessing what you would say, I would guess it would be the kids.
And if I guess what you'd say, it would be the church.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, work and kids.
Yeah. Because she'll get focused on, like, the little kids. Like, focus. Drain. Like,
But we are in that season. That's what I'm talking about. The changes of marriage. Like we had, I think Deacon was 8 when we got Braxton, so that's pretty self-sufficient. And so
Yeah.
now we have two, under
Toddlers,
4,
basically.
and it's like,
Yeah, I'm
They
not roll.
demand
If I
that
roll to the
from
house at
you.
like 8 o'clock, Mama's out. She done.
Yeah.
Gone for the night. Party's over.
Yeah.
Lights out.
Oh, I'll bet.
You know what I'm saying? So then there'll be moments where I'm like, okay, I will twiddle my thumbs tonight. I'm not sure what's about to happen right now. You know, does that make sense? Like, there's a little bit of that, and I know that, and vice versa. She'll be like, oh, another meeting tonight. Oh, another counseling appointment. Great.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of that. We're constantly having discussion and balanced discussions
Yeah.
about like, hey, are we off? What's
This
good?
day, that day.
Yeah.
Plan this, yeah.
Can we shift? Can we move? Can we? I'm getting the stink eye. I see it. Okay. Yes. Does that make sense? So,
Oh, yeah.
so it's good things. I mean, look, I love my kids too.
Mhm.
I love the church. She
Right.
loves the church.
Right.
But it's like, hey, good things can become bad things if they're out of order of priority.
Yes.
Well, and I think you would not be able to do the work you do without me.
Absolutely.
And I would not be able to do all that I do for the kids without your support.
Right.
I mean, so I think that's where the One Flesh comes in, that we have to be a team and
Mhm.
together and,
But I do have this discussion a lot, and for people that are listening, I have this discussion a lot with young guys especially, that I say, like, let me give you just a simple example, and I think you'll confirm this. It'll be interesting to see what she says, but like, there was a time before we adopted these kids, these young kids, that I would probably play golf minimum like 3 or 4 times a month. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, like Dee asked me the other day, when's the last time we played golf? And I was like, we played golf like 4 months ago. Like I've probably played golf once in 4 months, and it's not that I don't get invited. It's not that there's the opportunities there. It's just that, hey, this is not the right time.
Right.
Mhm.
It's not the right time to have your wife, and guys listening to this, I think I want you to get this. It's not the right time to have your wife in a season with young kids where she's taking the brunt of it all the week long, and I'm like, I'll be back 5 hours from now on a
Right.
Saturday.
Right.
Right? She's looking at me like, I'll kill you where you stand. You know, and rightfully so. You know what I mean? You got to have some level of like. So I say to guys all the time, especially young guys, I say, it's not that it will never happen, but for right now, you've got to figure out what the priorities are right now. And in this season, mom needs you. Do you know what I'm saying?
not only mom needs you, but the first 5 years of a child's life, that's
Fair.
huge. And so
Fair.
research shows that in development, they need their
Fair.
need their
Thank you,
dads. They-
psychologist. Kat.
well, it's true.
I agree
It's
with
not
you.
just about giving mom a break because they are your
Mhm.
child too, but they need that.
Time with her dad.
They need that time with their dad.
That's fair too, guys. That's good advice. Seriously, I think that's the thing. If I see one thing young fathers doing in their families that doesn't line up, is they just can't go, hey, for this season, I'm gonna have to make an adjustment. Doesn't mean I can't come back to the car, to the golf, to the softball, to the whatever the heck it is that takes so much of my time and energy that I love. Doesn't mean I can't come back to it, but for right now, these people need me more. And it is what it is. I've got to prioritize this. Does that make sense? The gym, whatever. Right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
I think there's a flip side to that too.
okay.
You have to take care of yourself.
Okay.
So you have to have
Yeah.
some of that time, that downtime. I'm not golfing every Saturday,
Yeah.
for instance, but once in a while.
Yeah, I'm not
taking
saying
care
you
of
have to be some
yourself and-
superhero.
And the same thing for the wives.
Mhm.
They need to have that time to, if they enjoy shopping, if they want to go to the beach with their friends,
Yeah.
dad's got to stay there and hope for the best with the kids.
Do
Hopefully
you-
they're
do
all
guys-
there
do
when you come
guys
back.
notice
And
that- do you need more time alone, or do you need more time alone? Like, do you need more downtime? Or does he need more downtime? He needs more downtime.
I don't get enough alone time.
Neither do I.
No, but between the two of us,
That's what I
she
think.
needs more. Like, she needs time that's quiet. What I'm
That's
saying.
what.
Oh, that's
Yourself.
her.
That's
yeah.
definitely me.
Right. And I need more like people engagement time. Like, to her, I think it's like people engagement time is draining. To me, it's filling, and vice versa. The
Mhm,
time
mhm,
at home that's like that's draining to me, and for her, it's filling. Right. So we're kind of always like at odds. I'm like, we're going to a public gathering It's gonna be great. She's like, great. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
But again, we're in that season where, just, okay, we're going here for the church or doing this, or even on a Sunday mornings, and then you go home, and there's kids everywhere. So it's, again, that season of marriage where I might need alone time, I might need quiet time, but it's probably not going to happen, you know,
It's true.
just different seasons.
It's a tricky thing, those young kids season.
Mhm.
Tricky thing.
But I will tell you,
Okay.
and everybody else listening, cherish it, because I
Well, it
miss
happens
going.
once.
Yeah.
I miss going to the soccer games, and
Yeah.
oh, we've got a soccer game tonight. We've got a soccer game tomorrow night. We've kind of replaced that a little bit with our grandkids'
Yeah.
baseball, softball, so you get to go and enjoy that. But I do miss those times with Emily when she was playing soccer and doing her activities. So,
Yeah.
it seems like forever right
It's
now. It
fleeting.
seems like it's I don't want to do this. Oh my gosh, I gotta go sit in
That season
traffic.
goes by quick.
It goes by very
It
quickly.
really does.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Goes by quick. And I think part of it, like you said, she said the seasons things earlier would be her lesson to married couples, and I think there's a valid point that learning how to navigate prioritizing time, all of these things in these seasons the right way, and then we get to look forward to the empty nest season where we get to be us again, and it's us focused again and all that kind of stuff. But there is a level that right now it's like you just try to keep your head above water and make sure the kids, get what they need a little bit. But I think there's a balance to that in each season, and you got to look, guys. You got to look forward to it. It's not always going to be like this, but you got to celebrate what this season is and what this season takes. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very hard to stay in that moment, especially if you're exhausted or you know what I'm saying. But it's definitely like it goes by way too fast. Like it's kind of like cliche, but I'm gonna be 62.
Yeah.
I don't think I got another 60 years in me. I know that much.
No. 120 is the new 50.
Yeah,
the
right.
new 8. I'm gonna live to be 300. Well, I think I see young couples getting married with all of these hopes and dreams, right? They start off, there's no kids, there's no real crazy responsibilities. All they have is work. They've got themselves to themselves a little bit. They had one kid, it's okay. They're kind of focused. 2 kids, it gets a lot more hectic. And all of a sudden, you're having conversations with one or the other where they're like, man, they're out doing this. They're not engaged. And I feel alone. There's this whole like boom thing that happens, and it can go bad quickly. And a lot of times we're not making the adjustments that have to be made in those seasons to prioritize life or family, spouse, children in the right way to the things that our pastimes or our hobbies or our money, whatever it is, we struggle to do it. I think guys struggle with that more. I think women are just naturally more like maternal. They just naturally go, no, of course the kids come first. And guys like, okay, I get it, right? You know what I mean? Of course we know that logically, but
Well, I was when we were doing this last night. I was like, we didn't experience that together.
yeah,
Like
you were coming in blended.
infants, like my kids were older, and so we didn't experience that part together, really.
Yeah,
Maybe you got lucky, like you got by some of that season.
Oh, I even said, I mean, yes, I can say that I can try to ponder like times when, yes, it was hard or stressful or, but we really didn't go through periods of like, we are unhappy, we're not doing this anymore, like, you go your way, I go my way. Like, I think our lives for a blended family, for the type of work that he does, have been like really, really blessed. I mean, that's
What do you attribute it to?
well, first of all,
Keeping the main
like
thing
we,
the main thing.
like
Like that.
Keeping God number one.
like I mean, I can't say that we are like, oh, well, God is number one in our lives every thought and every action we do. But when it comes right down to it, if we are over here in a mess, like, we know where to go.
Right.
And we're both open to that,
Yeah.
you know, whereas, like, that was a struggle in my first marriage.
Yeah.
You know, my husband unfortunately was an alcoholic, so, you know, his hope and trust was in alcohol, not in God, not even, you know, having a relationship with me. The relationship was with the alcohol.
Yeah.
So,
I kind of
Yeah,
have that
I-
same. I kind of have that same sense, like what you're describing, where I always feel that way. Like I always feel like, well, we're both moving towards God, and so we're ultimately going to move towards each other, even in moments of friction. I know that's where we're headed, and there's an abiding sense of like confidence in that. You know what I mean? Like I don't sit around going, oh, we just had like we don't really have fights, but we just had like a moment, like that was a tense moment, or that was,
Right,
and
right.
I wonder what she's thinking, or I wonder if she's like plotting the end here, or anything like that. No, but I mean, we're kind of laughing, but believe me,
No.
I guarantee you there are people listening going, oh, I'm doing that. You know what I'm saying? I am doing that, right?
Why is the kitchen knife on the nightstand?
Exactly. And so, and if you're there and you're in that situation, we're kind of giggling like, you know, but the truth is we get it, we understand that, but I think when both of the people are putting God first, there is this confidence that comes in that you go, okay, we're gonna figure this out, darn it, and we're gonna make this work, and we're gonna get through this no matter what. I think the main thing is key on that. So I like that. Do you attribute that to our success?
Yeah, I would say definitely that, and like living for an audience of one is kind of my mentality a
Okay.
lot. Is that living for God's approval and no one else's, and so
my favorite saying.
that kind of when I have that mentality, it kind of redirects everything. It's easy to get off track in a marriage, or have an attitude, or be having a bad day, and then when I remind myself of that, it shifts things back into focus really quickly.
What do I do that makes it easy to be married?
You're just easygoing. I mean, you're probably the most supportive, loving, laid back person I've ever met.
What does he do that makes it easy to be married?
Cooks.
He barbecues.
Thanks.
No, he will humble himself if I really have an issue with
Okay.
something that I have to be like, you know, hey, this is not working.
Right.
Some, along that line, he'll be like, he'll flat out say. Sometimes it's very spontaneous, like, okay, I'll work on that, and he's not being a smart aleck, he's being sincere.
Yeah.
And cooks, and
There's probably a lot to that then. If you're saying he's going to listen in the moment to something that's needs adjustment. That's not necessarily our strength, right? And then number two, the listening is not just hearing. It's, hey, I'm willing to think about that. I'm willing to work on that.
yeah, or you know, he'll even say, yeah, you know, I hear that in myself, and I don't like that in myself, so
That's pretty good.
I'm gonna, you know.
Yeah.
But
that's
he's
good.
also very like, normally he's also like one step ahead of me with like things, and so because he has done that habitually, when he doesn't, I'm just like, okay, how come he doesn't? I don't know how to explain that. Like I don't know, like I'll try to carry the groceries in, and he has all of them in the house, you know.
It's proactive.
Like yeah, he's or stuff
Yeah,
like
he
that.
Is that way, yeah.
Like he's very much like you know, I don't know, he'll think ahead of very thoughtful things.
Yeah.
But
He's a planner.
I didn't.
He's a little bit of a
It's an
planner when it
acts of
comes to like that
service.
stuff. Yeah, no,
Certain
he thinks that
things.
way. Yeah, certain things. Yeah. But I know what you mean. But like planner when it thinks a forethought of people around him. Like he's always had to lead a team. He's always thinking about what's best for the team. How do we get through this as a team?
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. He
Or
does
like
it that
he'll
way.
get me stuff like, oh, I noticed you ran out of your favorite lotion, let's just say, you know, and he'll get that, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even know I was gonna be.
I didn't know I was running low.
I didn't know. And I'm not saying that specifically. I'm just saying that something along that line.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. All right. So listen. Here's the deal. That's about as far as we can go for today. We're just getting started. We encourage you to join us in the book. So we're going to do the book together, and we're going to invite some other couples into this process too to be with us for these small group gatherings. We hope you get something out of the conversation. And as we go on, couple of things. One, we're going to try to stick to Mondays, but we might change the day too. And it's easy to do in our world. They'll archive if you miss it live, and you can watch it then. We wanted to have a live component because if you want to participate in the discussion and you want to write in with a question or a comment, Kat will kind of keep track of those as we go on in this series, and we'll invite somebody into that. And then you can pick up your books here at the church when you're here on Sunday or Wednesday for what we got going on right now. But we hope that you kind of like engage with us in this. It's just something that we're trying. And we hope that maybe stronger couples come out because of it. How about that? Appreciate
Amen.
it. All right. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.